Today we're going to be taking Disney princesses, their lore, their aesthetics and their personalities and turning them into WINX Club fairies. But not just any fairies, I did create a completely new transformation called Princessics. And this is achieved when a princess discovers her true self, her core identity, and embraces her destiny. And yeah, I am going to be a bit controversial on this and say that only princesses can unlock this form, so regular fairies could never. I mostly created this so I don't have to follow the canon WINX transformation rules, and that this will allow me to have more artistic freedom. So everything would be a bit more unique, glamorous and sparkly, all those kind of good bits. Anyways, without any further ado, let's get started. Now I actually can't believe I've never drawn Mulan in this channel before, because being Asian myself, she was one of the first princesses I've ever saw as a child who represented me and parts of my culture, and that is until Raya came into the picture. And I like how her story is all about duality, like how she had to decide between tradition versus individuality, her family duty versus personal identity, and how she can show strength versus accepting vulnerability, and lastly having to battle between expectation and her authenticity. Instead of just swaying between one or the other, she learns how to balance both, and that's why I wanted to give her the title of the Fairy of Balance, which was also the ongoing theme between the first and second film. We could see that from the first film, she was quite imbalanced, so in the matchmaker scene, it was almost painful to watch because every insecurity she had was thrown right at her face. She was clumsy, anxious, judged, and she was humiliated in front of everyone, even though all she wanted to do was honor her family. And it was such an important moment because it showed how deeply she wants to fit in the mold, and it hurts her how much she can't fit in that mold. We could see that this whole theme about her trying to force herself to fit into a mold continues on, especially on that moment where she takes her father's place in the war. You know, like when she had that dramatic scene of her cutting her hair and putting on his armor with zero dialogue. Even though it was iconic, it was basically another example of how she was forcing herself to be someone who she's not. And only when she finally broke out of that cycle of trying to be someone who she's not did she realize her true and full potential. So at the beginning of the film, when she was trying to be someone who she's not just so that she can win people's approval and fit into the norm, later on when she finally got to be herself and truly balancing her identity, her quirks and all of those kind of things, did she even save China and won the hearts of everyone. And that's why I believe that giving her the title of the Fairy of Balance really does suit her as well. And then for her Princessics outfit, it is definitely inspired by her matchmaker dress, but I flipped the meaning of it, so instead of representing her insecurity, it now symbolizes self-mastery. And she's wearing this really long layered sleeve Hanfu style dress that kind of blends red, navy blue and soft gold. And of course you guys could already see that her wings kind of resemble the yin-yang symbols, because you can't be the Fairy of Balance without the yin-yang symbol, so I thought that I should add that in as well. Now I do admit that her dress is not exactly a traditional Hanfu style dress. I did have to edit that quite a lot just so that it's a bit more WINX vibe. And the kind of style I was going for in terms of the Princessics aesthetics is that their skirts are quite layered. So you guys will see this kind of style as well in the other princesses I will draw today. You can't see it right now, but I just want to confirm that underneath her skirt, she is wearing a pair of shorts. Now we're going to be moving on to one of my comfort characters, Tiana. Her story is this kind of like warm, cozy, aesthetic type of vibe that I get from her. And her dress, like in the end scene where she has like, oh wait, you guys could see it anyway, but that dress that you could see on the screen right now is definitely one of my most favorite princess Disney dress, you know? And I really like how her whole character is about being a soft girl boss, you know? She's very ambitious, she knows what she wants, and she will work hard to get what she wants. She just represents this whole beauty of working hard whilst remembering to still believe in magic. And her whole character, I'm going to say balance again, even though you guys are probably sick about me saying balance, but it's all about balancing realism with a little bit of hope and magic. Like how she wasn't a big fan of the whole princess idea or kissing a random frog idea, and I found that absolutely hilarious. And I know that she wasn't a big fan of being turned into a frog, but the whole time that she was one in the bayou was when she learned how to dream again, and that was really nice. And then the ending was actually so satisfying because her hard work really did pay off. It was recognized and it was validated. She didn't need Naveen or his family's money to help her with the restaurant. She managed to open it up all by herself, with all of her hard work. So instead of Naveen being her Prince Charming, it was more realistic. He was her biggest supporter, and that was the best thing ever because this is so realistic yet comforting. It still has that dreamy vibe into it. So when I was looking through, or when I was thinking about what kind of fairy Tiana would be, I had a few ideas. At first I thought that maybe she would be the fairy of cooking just because she loves cooking, and the whole point of the story is that she wanted to open a restaurant. So I thought that might be an idea. The thing is, the whole part of the film had like themes of voodoo, and we all know that voodoo can be bad and it can be good, just like what we saw with Mngo.tea and the voodoo man, right? So I was thinking that maybe she should also be the fairy of voodoo. But the thing is, I wasn't sure of this particular title just because even though the whole theme of the film was about voodoo, Tiana herself wasn't really directly involved with it. So what I thought instead was, perhaps she should be the fairy of the bayou because she had a lot of her growth in the bayou. One of her most important moments happened in the bayou. Also, I remember that scene where she was foraging for ingredients in the bayou for that, what was it called, gumbo. But yeah, I just thought that the whole title of being the fairy of the bayou sounds a bit more mystical, and it's a bit more relatable to her as well. Now, in terms of her Princessics outfit, you guys can see that it is definitely inspired by her wedding princess dress. And like I said earlier, the whole kind of theme about Princessics is that their skirts will be quite layered, so you can see that I added different layers onto her skirt as well, and they're all quite like nature theme around her entire outfit. My favorite part about this design is definitely her hair. It's absolutely gorgeous because I remembered seeing this ad. I think I spoke about this before, but I remembered seeing this ad where she basically kept her hair down instead of tying it into a bun, and I thought that was such a symbolic moment. I need to draw something about that. And then lastly, I don't think, at least from my point of view, she doesn't really have much yellow in her dress, but I did add some yellow accents across this particular outfit just because it helps really pop out the green, and I absolutely love the color scheme as well, and I hope you guys like it too. And overall, I just feel like this whole dress fits the bayou theme. Right, lastly, we're going for the queen herself, my absolute favorite princess of all time, Cinderella. I think every time I have to draw any princess video, she's always involved because, of course, as I said before, she is my favorite Disney princess. And I just really like the whole theme about going from rags to riches, especially to someone who truly deserved it, because this girl, she's been through a lot. And even after all the crappy things that she's gone through, she still stayed this really sweet, dreamy, kind girl. Like, she had to deal with her stepfamily who wasn't the kindest people to her, and they literally ripped off her dress on the night of the ball. Saddest of all, she lost her father at a very young age as well. So after all that, it did feel nice that at the night of the ball, she did get some help from her fairy godmother who gave her this gorgeous silvery / blue dress. And I love watching that scene because this is literally the moment of her dreams materializing. And then after all that, her dreams came true with just a fit of a slipper. And after thinking about her title, I was thinking, of course, she should be the fairy of dreams. But why dreams? Well, that's because, in my opinion, dreams defined her, like her kindness, her hope, her softness and aesthetics. It all came from her being a very optimistic dreamer. That's what I base her whole outfit on. Kind of like when I think of dreams, I think of fluffy, aesthetic clouds. So that's why she's got this kind of whole romantic, fluffy feeling all across her design. And as I said earlier, all the princesses will have like this layered skirt, which is what she's got over there. And all across her designs, like on the collar of her dress or her top, and then on her socks, on her shoes, it's all cloud theme. Now you guys might see that I didn't really exactly give her the glass shoe that was quite iconic of her, but there's a whole reason for that. The first reason is that I absolutely forgot about it. I know, shocking. But there's another reason, and that is because on the live action film, her stepmother actually broke her copy of the slipper, like her last slipper, so she didn't actually have the glass shoe with her when the prince came into her house, so she had nothing to prove that she was the princess in the ball. And in that scene, the narrator or the fairy godmother said that all she had was herself. But will herself be enough? And the answer to that is yes, her being true to herself, and that being herself was enough for the prince, that he didn't need no glass slipper. And I thought that was absolutely gorgeous. And it was quite symbolic as well how the glass slipper didn't symbolize her, it didn't represent her. That glass slipper was not Cinderella. What was Cinderella was the one who danced with the prince at the ball, who then had a romantic connection with each other. And I thought that was a much nicer way of designing her fairy form instead of just giving her a glass slipper. But I do admit, hands up, I did forget about it. For her colour palette, I of course went with her iconic blue scheme. I did change up different tones and different types of blues just so that the design is not completely monotonous. And I did add some yellow accents here and there as well. And that's all I have for you guys today. I hope you guys like these Princessics transformations, and let me know in the comments below which design was your favorite. And also make sure that you like and subscribe if you want more content like these in the future. And of course, I'll see you all next Mango Monday. Bye!